He might have kings here, maybe. I don't think he has a single other value hand. That's my assessment. Like, I just think it is like that because again, he doesn't think anyone is actually going to read into what he's doing.
This video is created for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not gamble, you will lose.
Yo, what up? We have a 10-L hand submission that I am reviewing. Don't know much about this player's experience, but I don't think they've been putting up like consistent results, at least online. So I'm going to be looking at spots where their game could just be more structured, spots where they're missing anything fundamental, and letting life be easy. So we have a fish, open the button, into us in the big blind. And then they check the flop, so they're incredibly capped. They could have a 7, it's possible, don't remember the flop timing. But yeah, we just have a pretty nutted hand. Size up to play for all of it. I think they might call ace high against a bet and a jam when like the draw's brick. And I think I want to go big enough that I could even get it in on like a hard close. So I probably go like 3/4, and I expect to still get looked up by some ace high and stuff. Yeah, even for that larger size. And yeah, here we can still like jam if we'd gone a little bigger on the turn. It's not like this overbet, you know. I mean, it's pot size basically. But if we went a bit bigger, it's easier for them to call the ace high as well. I think we can still jam. There's so little left, and our hand is so good. They will sometimes just have a worse top pair. It's not like they never have it, but a lot of like 9s and 10s. And so I think like with how fast you bet, you knew how strong the hand was, but you could get it in more cleanly. And that seems like a little thing, but when it comes to just like picking up fish money, just getting the right, like just getting the big blinds from them that your hand is worth is sort of the number one skill. So just like pay a little bit of attention to it. Like exact same idea, but maybe a different sizing scheme. Like you're capped. I have the best. I've got my hand's got 80-90% equity, and I'm just gonna blast into you now. 9-deuce. The guys who are limping are just limping bottom of range. So we go for a bet here with 9-deuce, which is like fine. You know, the hand has equity. The hand can get value. The hand can get better to fold. But I would like to just check and let them take a random stab with some bad stuff because I'm never like betting this hand 3 streets. Just check and let them spew with some zero equity bluff because they're really not meant to bet too much crap, and their range is mostly crap. Like when you bet, all the hands that fold were dead to you. But I like the line you take, just like bet check bet. You realize, like just realizing you have fat value on the river when they snap check flop and bricks out that way. And yeah, queen high call, my goodness. Okay, so who is this profile he's opening? Because 9's in the small blind against an under the gun open is already close. It's like bottom of 3-bet range in like general structure. So with like high rake and stuff, like, I think you almost certainly want to V-pip it. But I'm just saying, like, just think about who this guy is and like post flop plan is, because you're going to run into radically different post flop ranges. A lot of people are just going to call like king jack offsuit, even though it's a tight formation. And then against those guys who have offsuit broadways, you can just bet small. Same with fish, you can just bet small. Like you can just range bet with everything on every board, and it does well because they just have this bullshit pre-flop range. They don't fold enough pre. If it's a nit, you got like some different options on the table. It's like way more board specific, but you can also just, you know, they're just not going to bluff you enough. You can realize your equity pretty easily. So just think about it. Standard size, totally fine. And then I think like it is this oversimplification, but just range bet ace high flops is like pretty good. Our hand's kind of weird. You bet small, and you like, yeah, you almost immediately go for the check raise. So I'd like to know what's going through your head, but I just don't think you should really have a 3-bet pot flop check raise range with where you're at in your poker game development. Like this fits no standard principle. Like if you tell me what's your plan to make money, if you tell me what mistakes do population make, mergy isn't the description. It's like it's not clear what you're folding out and what your plan is when you call. Their range is ill-defined, I think, when they're stabbing, and then even after they bet call, we don't have a clear plan of action. I could see it actually like just being kind of randomly good, but it would rely on them bet folding top pair a lot. Comment below as to what 9s is doing here. But anyone watching and the person who submitted the hands. Queens, call from the big blind. Bet a quarter pot on the flop. Okay, so this is another one. Pretty simply, people don't check raise bluff the ace high boards, so we're gonna bet bigger. We only care if ace X pays us. If you go like overbet, 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 you know, a lot of them are obviously going to fold. There's something going on there. Some of them are allowed to fold depending on the price. What I'm saying is bet bigger on the flop, bet big on the turn, bet big on the river. If they just have two pair or a set, you're getting paid anyway. Challenge them to fold ace 10, even ace jack, to two or three big bets. And what you'll find is people are going to call at least two bets way too often because they have top pair and you're just betting large. And then they're just going to still just pay off like whatever, like ace jack they have on the river and stuff. Unless they're raising for you, just bet bigger. So especially here, like you would do the same with threes because you don't block their top pair even. If you have aces, yeah, like think about going small because it's hard for them to have the ace. If you have aces, you want them to call a queen and then hit two pair and then stack off against your aces. You want to give them a chance to catch up. If you have queens or threes, you just want the aces to pay you as much as possible, as quickly as possible. These are the ones that really matter. Like, if you didn't worry about any close spots, any theory spots, you just kind of let it be easy, and then you let, like, these are the exceptions you find. Oh, yeah, they're just going to pay me with top pair, bet big. Like, there's just a few things of, like, what are the people who don't study do too easily? And the main thing is they're just going to call top pair a lot. They're going to have, like, face-up ranges in a lot of spots because of the sizings and because of the sort of hands they bluff. And they're going to be really weak in certain lines, and they're like not going to raise you very much, like stuff like that. Really consistent stuff. They're going to have too wide a pre-flop range and make mistakes to you automatically. So your job is like with that in mind, where like they just never really do anything. They kind of have too many hands. They don't really raise you. They kind of play face up, but they can't really hand read you, and they're kind of trying to play their hand. It's very easy to beat everyone. It's like they don't when you bet big and then bet big, they don't know what that means. All they know is I've got top pair. Folding it seems scarier than calling it. Folding top pair, that seems like a hero move to me. It takes an exceptionally nitty person to fold top pair to three quarters, three quarters. You know what I mean? So just yeah, bet queen's big. Discipline laydown with the queen nine. King jack. Yeah, you have some showdowns, so flop checks very reasonable. Showdown on a board that we aren't like really meant to bet everything. So like, why would we bet? It's an example of like a board you can get away with range betting. Like, so again, I think range bet default. Like if you just have even Jack 9 of clubs, go ahead and bet here. Why not? Like it's not the best thing in the world, but against players who aren't, you know, you're not really playing theory-oriented balanced poker strategy at 10 and L. There's zero to worry about with that. But why bet King Jack? Because like only worse folds and like only better, yeah, only better calls you and only worse folds. So it doesn't achieve anything. You bet it and they fold something like Jack 9, and then when a Jack comes, you don't cooler them anymore because they don't have any Jacks. That sucks. Or the flush comes out. Whereas checking, you know, maybe you just hit it and it's great. Maybe they bet super tiny on a 2 and you can call because you've got like 6 outs to a pair and you win on when they give up rivers sometimes. I think it plays really, really nicely by checking, just like your ace highs do. So I spelt that all out just to illustrate. You can have a range bet default and then just think, oh yeah, no wait, king high kind of checks nice. And that logic is really, really easy when you know how your opponents play. Like at these limits, they're just really, really weak and they face up with their bet sizing and timing. It's not that dissimilar to a soft live game, which is most. And then they snap block, and then you go for this snap 3x. So they also checked flop and turn. They play face up. So what's the best thing they have on river? Not a 4, right? So king jack is basically the nuts. Unless they have ace jack offsuit that called pre, and then only like top pair, top kicker, only bet 2 big blinds really fast on the jack river, you have the nuts. You have the best hand 90 to 99% of the time, let's say. So you have a nutted hand. It's almost always good. What's their range? What do we want to do about it? You snap go for 3x, which is like a good bluffing size, because like, you know, they just have 7 high, they're going to fold. Like they're just betting, I don't know, 9-7, some random crap, they'll bet fold. But if they're betting a jack, which I think is most of their betting range, like a weak jack, if they have a 6 or 7s or something weird, they might bet it. They might bet a 5. I don't think like the pairs are going to fold so much more if you go 7.5, 8, 9 big blinds. And certainly a jack is basically not going to fold even if you go to 12 big blinds. If you go 12 big blinds here, you're saying you trapped a boat the whole way. You're saying you hit jacks. It's possible, but if they just hit top pair on the river, they're not bet folding it for $1. It's $1.20. So I'd say if we think they have a lot of lower pairs, go like 7.5, 8 bigs. And if you think that's just the jack X, go like 10 or 12 bigs. They get a lot. Certainly bigger than 6. And I think you just went to like, oh, raise 3x is safe because you don't want them to ever fold. What you want them to do is call you, but like be as unhappy as possible. And look, they snap called. So like you didn't even make them think about it. So yeah, you realize where you're at. I don't know if you realize you had literally the nuts, or like very very close to the nuts, and they did actually have a lot of Jack X to be bet thing. I think they had Jack 10 or something with how quickly they called. Right. Ace 4, big blind against button, basically checking down for showdown. I like that you took some time to think with the hand. You didn't just say, I've got ace high, easy decision, and snap check. They think for a while. Does look like nervousy. And they just do this tiny bet. Okay, you end up calling against the 7-3. That's good. So, like, just in general, small bet. I don't know how you're profiling this guy. But yeah, delay. Like, he has to have, like, checked pocket pair on the flop. And then be betting that pocket pair, because we don't really think he's checking a jack. Once he hits the queen on the turn, we don't really think he's hitting a queen. And again, like, he could, like, again, I'm thinking about the ratio of value to bluffs. It's very easy for them to overbluff when they open button, and they do that. Especially if they are playing their hand. Because to me, I see range bet flop. I make money with 7-3. He goes, oh, 7-3, it's not really a draw check. Something like that. And then same on the turn. And then by river, very hard to check 7 high 3 times. So yeah, ace high, good call. Good call. Like, especially at low stakes and micros, I just shut my eyes and I call in spots like that. I'm like, it's wide, he's probably bluffing. I don't have to think about his range. He's going to randomly show up with weak stuff. It's only if you play against people who check value on the flop, check value on the turn, and don't always bet the bluffs. Really have a decision. And I'll also add, like, if you did just fold ace high there a little bit much, that isn't what would keep you from winning or losing at low stakes. I mean, generally being just overfolding a lot, I guess, does. And there are spots like that just make money. Like, it's probably crazy how much ace high wins on that river. Like, you might be winning more than half the pot. Like, it's not just you got a good price, it's like it was a value trap. Like, you were trapping the whole way. Yeah, a big blind 3-bets you. I bet if you looked at his big blind 3-bet, like his big blind 3-bet specifically, it's going to be really, really tight. This would just be a fold in this break structure. Fold. It's not the worst call in the world with depth, but like, please just fold. Hell yes, man. Okay. We have a player. If I'm reading the first two numbers of VPIP PFR correctly, you could be game selecting harder for 10 and L. You're recording a video, so no big deal. You obviously don't want to be cycling. Imagine for the video you just weren't bothering to. But super crucial, again, Rake is just killer. There are good games. While you can probably win in any lineup and not worry too much, or like most lineups, non-nit lineups. Especially as your strategy gets standardized, or like this is one reason to like not play the max amount of tables you can handle, like maybe play one less, so you have a little bit of attention to scan lobby and just see, is there an even better game running? And just being in those seats when they're there, obviously it just maximizes your earn, maximizes your EV, and it's a habit you want through your entire career, not just at micros. So start now. Just a crucial part to your session. Okay, this queen 8 will be interesting. So I think queen 8 probably fold pre with the rake. Probably. Close. Depends on a few factors. And then I like that you're thinking about betting river. I like that you're thinking about. That looks big. Okay, so my issue here, I don't know how much this applies at this stakes, but while he isn't going to check his like ace king, very easy to check like ace deuce. Very easy, perhaps, to bet flop and check ace deuce on the turn in my environment. Also, he could check king queen. Like, he could just never bet a queen on the turn. So this is a case where because the flop pair you shared got demoted, it's no longer nutted. I'm saying they have better queens, not just worse queens, so we need them to call lower pairs as well. And the more they have a better queen and the more they do have an ace, and I think they have some, the worse this is. But if you went quarter pot, you went like 2.5 bigs, a third or something, then when you get called, I think you have 60 or 70% equity. And I'd probably check call this one. Because similarly, he might not even bet another queen on the river, so he could really easily overbluff. Like, if I'm thinking about how thin this value is, I think I'd rather check and let him bet for me, because he's probably not even going to bet queen 10. He should bet queen 10, like, a lot when it goes, like almost all the time he should bet queen 10 again on the river if we check. And king queen, surely, if it checks the turn, it bets the river. So if he's checking those hands and betting bluffs, which we've seen him do, he bet that 7-3 high. Check call seems awesome, actually. Fish limps, guy ISOs small. That's interesting. So I think the average fish at 10 and L, it's possible he has nines or tens or something, right? It's possible he has aces, but he might actually be limping any two cards. So this guy being in the pot, when a lot of those, he's got like two undercards or like jack 7 suited that might pay you, that adds a lot of EV for eights, even out of position. Like whenever this guy puts money in, we make money. So you three bet. It might have even been this same guy with nines when he opened like under the gun earlier, right? You just like you three bet the nines. Eights is worth more than that here, I think, because of again what I'm describing about this guy's range. If this was a total nit who doesn't really limp anything bad, and he certainly won't limp call with anything bad, he's just gonna like show up with aces a lot, then it would take EV from eights. But a 10 and L, 100% VPIP, no raise guy, I think we have to VPIP this. So the other option, right, is I think raising is better than folding. Is calling better than raising? Maybe. I think it's reasonable. I would probably just three bet this quite big, to be honest. Something like you were doing. 12.5 is fine, but I might even just go like 14 big blinds with my hand. This guy's going to call me sevens or something because it's 10 and L, and then I can just rip it, and then this guy's going to have to fold a lot when this guy calls because this looks strong. Like he's going to have to fold ace jack off or whatever, in my view. If they react differently, I don't know. Apologies, I ranted about something you just did. Yeah, then this guy snap calls you, pointing to what I was ranting about. And that guy folds. Perfect. Okay. So let's just imagine I saw you do it, then I talked about how good it was. So this too. So now you're sizing up. Like, why bother sizing up? Why bother? When you size up, what folds? You're not trying to make an ace fold, right? So maybe you make king queen fold. Maybe you make tens fold. I don't hate it, but this guy just limp snap called a raise 3-bet. So he's gonna show up with like a lot of garbage. Maybe you can just bet smallish twice. Maybe you can delay c bet. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's snap going to this bet big option. I just feel like the other things didn't go through your mind. Like I was trying to empathize with where you're at. I felt like a bull in headlights. Just like make this guy fold with this bet. I think it's okay, but then when they call, we're just kind of screwed on the turn. I think we would do really well. I'd probably lean just towards a smaller c-bet as we get to this 2-to-1 stack to pot ratio, because the problem is I think he also does just have ace-x and stuff. So I'd rather hit his total crap. I think bet is better than check folding. I think you will just like automatically profit, and I think they're going to bluff too much. So you can go smaller and get the same effect. I think you slightly overpaid for. Yeah, so you 3-bet and you check again. So yeah, this is 3-betting, and then just the eight's hand happened. Then you come back here. You don't even know if you had the action in your mind. You just see second pair and you snap check. That's what happened. So this guy knows you never have a queen or better. Let's see what happens. Because we're at 10 and L. Again, so I'll say a couple things. One, I think you never have a queen or better, or that's 99% true. And B, even if you do have a queen in your range, he's playing like a random guy at 10 and L, and he's just going to do his strategy. So maybe he doesn't even know that, but he subconsciously is aware that people are weak when they check. And if he's a reg here, he looks like a reg. He's tight, 10 and L. He sort of knows, and so he should do a lot of betting here. He goes tiny on the flop, quarter, open the queen jack suited. Very, very, very standard call. And on the turn, doesn't really change much. I mean, if he's bluffing, the straight draw is small. Okay, he goes big on the turn. 7-8. That's interesting. Check raise. Do we check raise? He's got a reasonable check raise frequency, so we can have like a lot of backdoor flush draws. Your hand's foldable against a total nit, but I think in position it's a good bottom of range call. You could also just fold this and call like with the suits. I could imagine I wouldn't be stunned if it's foldable, but like it looks just like a standard call. Yeah, they polarize turn. They're from the Philippines. I don't have a Philippines read. We're either folding now or we're calling twice a lot of the time. We block a lot of their bluffs. They do have a lot of nuts that just got there. I don't think they have ace queen in range again, so it's a lot of nuts. It's not just sets. It's not just straights. It's ace queen, maybe even king queen. So they have to be taking many, many, many bluffs and just running it for us to want to call. If they're a range bluffer, I think we can call, but we need them maybe to even be bluffing something like twos sometimes to get there. So I think turn's a fine fold. We'd rather have any 10. Like, it doesn't fix all your problems, but just range bet small on the flop. Check less on the flop, because right now you're kind of just like checking face up with no like plan. And you're going to mess up your delay value lines, I think. Like, once they check back flop, you should bet jacks twice. I don't know for a fact you would be. You got to be clear on how you're playing the delay line if you are going to check these. Whereas once you range bet, the answer is basically just like bluff carefully, value bet kind of as you like, but do a hell of a lot of like checking and trapping on the turn because you bet a little bit much on the flop. Like, you protect your range a lot. Or if you know how they're playing, you just play face up. I am encouraging you to kind of surrender to that out of position spot a little bit. I'm not claiming it's optimal. But I think just you just get the c bet line is the most standard. It still does well. Just find yourself in the c bet line and then think about managing your range from the turn rather than from the flop. And last point, again, I'm talking about defaults, right? I'm talking about in general, lean bet, even with some of those hands that look like a check out of position. If it's a spot where you just know you want to check your hand, or you know this is a better way to play it, or you're choosing to do it, it's great. No, it's mostly a range bet, and you're making this choice. It's a range bet, but I'm giving up trash here because I don't think they're folding enough. It's a range bet, but this hand plays better as a check because they're gonna do ABC. Okay, limp raise. Yeah, again, so ace jack, it's funny too, because call is standard. So generally, I would just think, call the ace jack, I want to invite the fish into the pot. But I also just get the impression that they're even going to call like three bets kind of wide with like some random garbage. The problem is, again, though, when we get called by Alexander, that's very bad with this hand. We love when he folds, but we don't want him. We don't want to three bet and just have him call ace queen or something like that. And he still is uncapped because he did the raising. So I think call is best, just because we lose like all playability. And they're going to make mistakes in the single raise pots as well. And Alexander's going to play quite face up because he's just going to play his hand against the fish or play whatever his heuristics are. So, for example, this quite rapid quarter, like tiny bet on the flop. This guy seems like a thinking GTO study weird. I don't know. Like, he's doing some stuff. He might have kings here, maybe. I don't think he has a single other value hand. He either has kings or he's full of shit right now, and he's trying to like bluff cheaply. That's my assessment. Like, I just think it is like that because again, he doesn't think anyone is actually going to read into what he's doing. The good call. So that said, I would like to see you fight for this pot. So yeah, check looks quite standard, but if you had gotten here with, I don't know, a six of spades or something like that, which seems reasonable, a seven of spades, those are probably bluffs because he's going to have his own like ace highs. We could have also just gone, oh, you're full of it, raise the flop. Oh, you're full of it, and I don't want the fish to call sixes or whatever. Like, ace jack doesn't really care. Like, I don't want the fish in the pot really. So if you're just going to tell me that you don't ever have it here, maybe I just buy it from you. Again, look at how unique this is. So this is one where like The study process or the review process for this one is pretty involved. There's a lot of stuff where you can just go, oh, protocol, make life easy. This is, oh, we have to break this down and like think through stuff and make some wild assumptions. But him showing up with Queen Jack off, I think, heavily validates us. Heavily validates this call, and he checked it on the turn. So hey, look, we were realizing all the showdown. We were good till the river. Bad news. Like obviously, a low brick is way better for us than a queen because he's gonna like he isolated, so he's gonna have a lot of these broadways. So he's gonna accidentally hit a jack or a queen, sometimes an ace. I think he's gonna hit a queen the most, a jack quite often, an ace sometimes, and then less the 10, and then less 9, less 8, less 7, less 6. Those are more and more and more our cards because of pre-flop. And then I think he was basically range betting micro. Was my feeling. Range betting, but then not having the ace king and the king queen, or he would have just gone bigger because the fish was there. Because the fish was there, he would never size down his top pair. My brain's kind of fried. I'll leave it on this and edit it into something quick.